Hey guys, Richard here with eBike Reviews and Adventures. Well, we need to have a discussion about the Himiway D5 Pro. Yeah. So guys, here's the thing. I made a mistake. Yeah, huge financial mistake. Because I bought this bike right here. This was not provided by Himiway. This is something that I saw that I thought, wow, this is a great deal. It's going to be a hot item. I'm going to scoop it up. I'm going to make this my my long-term go-to bike, personal bike to ride, and it's not turning out to be any of those. No. So here's the deal. Part of it was my fault because I didn't do my research into mid-drive motors. Okay, so yeah, fault me for that, yes. Number two, something kind of strange happening, and that is this bike right here was announced a couple of months ago at the 2024 CES there in, where's that at, Las Vegas, where Himiway announced a lot of new bikes, quite a few new bikes, in fact, and a couple of new lines of bikes. And since then, they've been promoting those bikes. But for some reason, they haven't been promoting this one right here. So I went out to Himiway, said, hey, I'm interested in your bike. Is it something you'd be interested in sending so I could do a review on it? And they came back and says, no, it's not on the marketing plan right now. And I thought that was kind of strange, but that's when I decided to go ahead and purchase it because I really wanted it. Because, hey, it's hard to find a mid-drive bike that's in the $2,000 range, and that's exactly what this is. And I thought, man, what a great deal. And, yeah, so I bought it. But it's not the bike for me. Yeah, and here's why. And getting back to why they're not marketing it right now, I don't know. But, you know, is it because they know it needs more than just regular marketing? I don't get it. I don't know. But here's where I didn't do my homework. You know, I didn't understand mid-drive bikes other than people talk about them and say, hey, they're the greatest thing, they're the best thing, you know, whatever. And for some people, that might be true. Absolutely true. And for some people, you're going to love this bike right here, and it's going to be a great bike for you. But my riding style, and for my use case, how I plan to use the bike, is not working out for me at all. Here's why. Okay, what I learned is, well, first of all, you know, after I got the bike, I jumped on it and I took off and I was recording that video. So if you saw that video, or if you missed it, it's the, you know, my Himiway D5 Pro first ride video. And so go look for that video and check it out. But on that video, I noted how slow of a response you were getting out of the throttle. And how I ride, I do a lot of riding, like, you know, in town, a lot of red lights, a lot of stop signs, just a lot of stop and go traffic, that sort of thing. And I don't want a throttle that's going to be super slow to respond because sometimes you need to jump out there in traffic, right? And so I want a throttle that responds, you know, relatively quick. And almost all other big e-bikes that I have not had this problem with. You know, they're responsive, they're fine. It's not super fast, but they're fine. This one is not fine for how it responds. You hit the throttle and it sits there for a couple of seconds before it starts to move, and it moves really super slow. And so what some of you have responded in the other video is that, well, that's just part of it being a mid-drive motor and that they're really slow to respond that way. I reached out to Himiway and was talking to them back and forth a couple of times, and they reached out to the engineers to find out, hey, what's going on? And the final result I got out of Himiway was, yeah, that's just how it is, and that there's no fix for it. So I was even hoping that there's going to be something in the display up here that I could go in and change, because in some bikes, yeah, you can go in there and change the intensity setting. That's not the case with this one. There's no option for that. So you have a bike here, number one, that is just going to be really slow to respond. And maybe you're okay with that, okay? That's fine if it is. Just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. Number two, what I didn't understand about mid-drive bikes, this is the first one that I've had. And what I didn't understand is that these mid-drive bikes, they're rather peculiar, and you have to treat them with caution when you're riding them, because you can really tear things up in here really quickly. And that's because mid-drive bikes have so much more power, and there's so much more torque, and there's a lot of pressure being put on not just the motor, but also that chain. If you're not riding it correctly, that you can start popping chains, right? And or you can mess up the gears inside the motor. And what I'm talking about is, with mid-drive bikes, you have to start the bike in a lower gear. If it'll focus, you have to start in a lower gear, and this is a 9-speed. My camera won't focus, that's okay. And what I'm used to is riding just your standard hub drive, hub motor bike, and I almost always leave it in 7th gear, because when I start out, I always use the throttle just to get the bike moving, and then I pedal from there. That's my riding style. That's what I prefer. And you can't do that with this, okay? Because starting out in a high gear, trying to pedal is too much pressure on that chain, and it's going to pop the chain, or it's going to mess up your motor. And that really stinks. That really stinks. So I did some more research and watched several videos of people out there talking about mid-drive motors, and they're all saying the same thing. You have to downshift. You have to downshift and put it in a low gear, like 1, 2, or 3 is the gear that you want to start in. And if you're in a lot of stop and go traffic, like I am, you're constantly shifting up, shifting down, shifting up, shifting down. Now I know how to drive a standard transmission automobile. I grew up with those. I own several, and I have no problem with that. Actually, I prefer those. They're fun to drive. But when it comes to an e-bike, I'm not interested in having to constantly shift my manual gears up and down every time I need to slow down or pick up speed, or even come to a stop. And what I found happening oftentimes is when I did stop, I would had forgotten to downshift, and then I'd be in a stop position, and I'd be in like 7th gear, 8th gear, or 9th gear, and that's crap. I can't start pedaling because the motor can't handle it. I need a downshift. So then what I do, I hop off the bike, I raise it up on its kickstand, I start, rotating the pedals, with my foot, trying to downshift to get into a lower gear so that I can get going again. And Richard's not going to do that every time. Oh yeah, sure. In time, I would probably, get the process down into my little mind, and I would, probably get used to downshifting every time I needed to slow down or come to a stop. But I share my bikes with everybody, okay? I got a lot of bikes. I share them with family. I share them with friends. I share them with people who are interested in e-bikes. They come over, they ride them, to get familiar with them. I'd never be able to do that with this bike. I'd always be concerned that someone's going to say, hey, can I ride that bike? And I'm going to have to say, no, I'm sorry, you can't, because it's a sensitive bike. I can't risk someone riding it that doesn't know what they're doing that's going to tear it up. And I certainly don't trust myself that I'm not going to tear it up. So for those reasons, the Himiway D5 Pro has to go. Yep, I'm going to take a huge loss on this because, again, I bought this with my own money, and now I'm going to have to sell it. I'm going to have to sell it at a pretty good discount just to get rid of it, probably. And that kind of stinks. So that's just unfortunate. It's just not going to work out. Now, having said all that, let me tell you the things I do like about this bike, because this is probably all you're going to get. You're not going to get the full review like I normally would do on these bikes. Again, because I purchased it, Himiway didn't provide it, so why am I promoting them? But I'm doing it for your benefit, okay? So I do like that it has really nice aggressive tires. I mean, a little more aggressive than some other knobby tires. And I like that. They're Kenda tires, which is a good brand. I like that we have, the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes on here. We got really good suspension up here. I mean, we got lots of travel there. I like this huge headlight. The headlight works really well. So I like that huge headlight. I like the overall looks of the bike. I like the color. I like how that gradient color that kind of goes from gray to white back there. I think the graphics on it are really sharp. I like that the battery is in the downs tube, and then it's a 20 amp, slightly over 20 amp hour battery, so it's nice and big. So you can get a lot of miles on this thing. I like the fact that it has good power and good torque for a 500 watt motor. Really enjoy that. It does come with a rack. It does come with an integrated tail light. It does have, the brake light and everything works on it just fine. We've got, let's see, what else can I talk about it? One of the things that I don't care for so much is all the welding going on down here. You got a lot of welding right here real close together. So you got all these weld marks right here, up through there and then across here as they put this thing together. So there's just a lot of weld marks right here close. Not a huge fan of that. The seat, probably one of the better stock seats that I've come across. Oh, rotate that back. Yeah, so this is the stock seat that comes on the Pro. It's really nice and big, a little longer than most, but also wider than most. and it's pretty comfortable. I could live with that seat without having to upgrade it. So I really like that about it. I really like the handle grips. In fact, I already went out looking for these exact handle grips to see if I could find them, because I'd like to buy these handle grips and put them on some of my other bikes. They just feel good. I like how it's got the palm rest, but the palm rest on the bottom side is kind of indented a little bit right here. So it just makes a nice place for your fingers to rest on the underside, and it just feels good. I just really like this. Can't find them for sale anywhere. These are my mirrors that I added to it, okay? It is a left-handed thumb throttle. My intention was to go ahead and add a twist throttle. It would be tight with the finger shifters, but I did it on another bike, and based on where the finger shifter is here, based on where the throttle is here, I think I'd be just fine. I think it would work, so my intention was to do that. I already purchased one. I'm not going to get a chance to use it. I like the button pad. Okay, the button pad, I've seen a similar button pad before. Works well. Going to power this up. I like the display. We've seen this display before on another brand that I owned, and I really like it. It's very intuitive, easy to get in there and manipulate. It's really good on the back end, so you can get through here in the admin settings to change things, and it's just, yeah, it just works very well. I just really like, whoops, oh no, we can get back there. I just really like that display. I like that the handlebars are adjustable, so you can fold them down if you want that more aggressive mountain bike style, or simply tilt them up to have more of a cruising style. Now, it's not toolless. You still need a tool to do that with, but at least you have that option to quickly change the handlebar stem. I like it. Let's see here. What else do I like? So I already mentioned the finger shifter over here. I love the fact that it's a 9-speed. The gears that they have in this thing is, I'm going to have to put it on the screen because now I didn't forget what gear set they had in here. It's a 9-speed, so it was probably 11 by 34, I'm guessing, but I'll put it on the screen for you. Which means, well, it is a torque sensor, and because it's a torque sensor and it's a mid-drive, you just don't have ghost pedaling. It's just the faster you want to pedal, the faster it's going to move for you. So all these things I really like about this bike. Brakes work real well. Haven't had any trouble out of those. No adjustment necessary. It does have a bell that it comes with. I wish it had a horn also. That's okay. At least we have a bell. Let's see here. What else can I... It is plastic fenders. And yeah, what else can I say about this? It rides really well. So, you know, I already did a riding video where I had it out. It's just real smooth. Other than, yeah, you have to downshift and upshift, and, you know, the throttle doesn't respond real fast. So for some people, this bike's going to be great. You know, somebody's going to buy this and they're going to get it at a discount off me, and they're going to be real happy with it. They're going to be real pleased, and you know, that's fine. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to finding someone who can really enjoy this bike, because I personally don't enjoy the bike. Don't enjoy it at all. So yeah, that's probably going to be it. I'm not going to take you for a ride this time because I already did a riding video with it. I've had this out on 2 long group rides where I was out with friends, and so I had it out, put about 65 miles on it. So I've got some time with it. It's just not something that I'm going to keep. So tell me what you think down below. What do you know about mid-drives? Have you ever owned one? Have you ever heard of this problem before about the mid-drive motors being kind of peculiar and sensitive? Because I have not. Pretty much all I've ever heard out of people about mid-drives is, oh, you got to get a mid-drive. You got to get a mid-drive. They're just so much better. They're so much more powerful. Yeah, if they operated similar to a regular torque sensor bike, I'd be thrilled. I would be thrilled. I'm not thrilled for those reasons I just mentioned about slow throttle and having to shift up and down constantly. Guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think down below. And hey, if you're in my local area and you want to buy this, let me know. I'll give you a good deal on it, because I got to get it moved out. Yeah, but I do not ship. I do not ship. That's going to be it for this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you're new here, subscribe, because we have all kinds of content for everyone. And I will see you guys in another video soon. Ride responsibly. Ride safe.